Hey Jordan, how you doing today?
Hey Luis, great to see you.
Man, it's been a while. I think last time I saw you was at Medicarians in Vegas a couple of months ago.
Can't believe that was a few months
Yeah.
ago already.
It flies, it flies. Well, let's get into business. One of the things I wanted to ask you, the reason I have you on today, is there are a lot of changes coming down the pipeline. Some have already happened and some are proposed. So I want to hear, and a lot of my subscribers, a lot of agents in the ACA world want to know, hey, what's coming down the pipeline for ACA? What are we going to have to deal with this coming open enrollment? So with that, and also with these changes that are coming down the pipeline for us, is how is HealthSherpa going to help us agents adapt to those coming changes that we're going to have to deal with?
Yeah, great question. I put together a couple slides that we'll jump into in a minute. I think the most important thing that agents can be doing now is just understand what these changes are, the overall impact that they'll have, and how we're building tools to address them. So, what I plan to cover today is at a very high level what the proposed changes are, what they mean for you as an agent, and how to utilize the tools that we've already started building now to help you start to prepare for open enrollment and be able to navigate this season, regardless of what changes do end up going through. I will add that we know that a lot of these are still uncertain right now. So we're staying really, really close to these changes. Our team is hosting webinars twice a month right now. We're doing English and Spanish to talk about these changes and what we're building. I will also send to you a link that you can share that we've got a web page up that talks about these proposed changes. We have our FAQ as well that has all of the HealthSherpa trainings. So if you're brand new to HealthSherpa, I would say maybe don't start with the upcoming changes. I'd start with some of our regular trainings like HealthSherpa 101 or HealthSherpa 201 if you're an agency, but lots of great resources.
No, I'm with you. And guys, I will share this link. It'll be in the description down below. So yes, definitely join these training guys. We as agents have to stay on top of this. I think this is going to be one of the most toughest open enrollments with some of these changes that are happening. And also, there's some little carrier issues that we're going to have to deal with. I don't know if you know this, Jordan, but Aetna is pulling out of the market.
Yeah, we're definitely planning to build some tools that will help you. We'll cover this in a minute, really prioritize your renewal strategy accordingly. That's why, again, we're trying to build things now so that whatever gets thrown at us, you say it's the toughest yet. I think some might also look at this as there's an opportunity. You've got great relationships with your members. You're going to navigate this storm, and on the other side of it, you'll be in a good position and still be able to grow and exist within the ACA.
Well, I'm looking at it to the same glasses that you are. And I will tell you this, it's a lot of opportunity. Even though I'm losing a big chunk from Aetna, they're going to go somewhere else. And that's going to be considered new business, guys. And a lot of these carriers, to my knowledge and talking to reps, of course, they're not confirming, but they are still saying we're going to have carrier bonuses next year. So as these policies move over to these other carriers, there's opportunity to make a lot of bonus money. So yes, it's going to be tough, but there is going to be a lot of opportunity. Guys, I'm going to share that screen one more time. This is the agent training page from HealthSherpa, faq.healthsherpa.com. And I'm going to share it down in the description below. But definitely, they've got proposed ACA changes, the 101, the 201, and some other modules here that you can definitely join. And it's in Spanish also. I may have stolen some of your thunder, but I did join the last ACA changes and it was super good.
Yeah, we've had a lot of engagement. I think we've had several thousand agents join in English and Spanish already. So definitely doing everything we can to make sure that we're communicating these changes and keeping everyone up to speed. I've probably said this on every single call that we've had, but definitely make sure that you bookmark faq.healthsherpa.com. Our team does an amazing job keeping those FAQs up to date. We're going to be rolling out a lot of product releases this year. That is the best place to go to learn new product features, sign up for training, anything you need from HealthSherpa. So,
Cool. Well,
with
let's jump
that,
in.
yeah, you share my screen here. Can you see that all right?
And we got it. Perfect.
All right, great. So let's dive in. There's really three categories when we think about what's happening. So right now we're in the phase of education, making sure that everybody understands what these changes are, helping you know how to prepare. Then we shift into product planning. That's something that is happening right now, but I would say as we move into the next couple of months, it will be critical for you to really start leveraging the tools that we're building in the product. One of the other things that we're looking to do is build out some success guides. So be on the lookout for resources from HealthSherpa of step-by-step resources on what you can be doing sooner this year to prepare for open enrollment. And then lastly, we've likely shared this before, really, really important that we hear everybody's feedback. HealthSherpa, relies on the agents that use our platform to give us feedback to continue to improve. So if we're building something, it doesn't make sense, click that feedback button, reach out to Luis, reach out to me. Happy to talk to you. If you have ideas that we're not thinking about, we want to hear those too. So let's talk a little bit about the proposed changes. So there's two categories when we think about this. There's the expiration of the advanced premium tax credit, which is set to expire at the end of this year. Those will expire unless action is taken. This is separate than everything that was proposed within the program integrity rules. These program integrity rules have also now been wrapped into a tax reconciliation bill that, if they are passed by the Senate, will actually be written into law. So, right now, we're still waiting to see what will happen on that, but we feel very certain on the bottom half of this screen in light blue that these will happen. Now, a lot of agents and agencies that I've been talking to, when they hear that, they panic, thinking passive renewals or no more passive renewals or, the shortened open enrollment. These are all going to be major changes, and they will be major changes. But I think the most important thing for me to highlight is that if tax credits are not extended, subsidies will change and the cost of plans will change. So it's really, really important that you understand what is happening to your book of business so that as you start to engage with your clients, now through open enrollment, you're having conversations with them, preparing them, educating them. You don't need to get into the weeds of what's happening with the government, but you can let them know that there could be a change in premium on their plan, or they might need to look at a different plan with you. So it's really important that they keep in touch with you.
Jordan, I want to add something on these enhanced subsidies. So this is something that the past administration enhanced for us, I think, in 2021. And it did two things, guys. The first thing that it did is when they put it into action, people got higher subsidies, which means a lot of our insureds ended up with $0 premiums. Then the second thing that it did is people with higher incomes were also able to get subsidies. So it extended beyond I believe the 400% is
Correct.
where most of the federal poverty level charts end, but I think it went up to 600%. So they increased it, so more people got more help. Now this is probably going to go away. In my opinion, Jordan, I don't think they're going to extend it. So I think we're going to see is less help for those that qualify, but there's also going to be less people qualifying for help. Is that what you're thinking, Jordan?
Yeah, we're not certain on this one. It's gone back and forth whether or not we think that these will expire or be extended. So it's hard for me to say. What I can say is that we're recommending that, if they do go away, it's important that you're having conversations with your clients about, again, if they're going to move from a silver plan that was zero and $0 is the most important, and they're moving to another plan, do you need to be adding other products or thinking through what is the best solution for that member? Now, if they have, health risks that require them to be on that silver plan, then it's worth the discussion of, okay, you might need to pay a little bit for this plan this year, but this makes the most financial sense for you. So really just preparing, and we're going to do everything that we can to put as much information in the product as early as possible to help you plan and start having those conversations.
Correct.
Awesome. So again, these are pretty self-explanatory here, but just quickly, I'll go through the end of the 150% FPL SEP. This would mean that if you're under 100%, 150% of the federal poverty level, you no longer have that year-round SEP. You would have to have a qualifying life event in order to qualify for that SEP. $5 premium on passive renewals. Again, if enhanced subsidies are not extended, this one does not matter as much because some of these plans may actually have a premium. So I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing to help address passive renewals in the product. We'll go into that in a minute. Failure to reconcile has been around. The last year it was in the last 2 years. Now it's moving to 1 year. So we will be flagging this in the product. What's important for you to understand is if you see that a member has an FTR status, you need to let them know that they need to file their taxes if they intend to collect a subsidy.
So will it, I'm just curious, because right now we don't have to deal with this very much, but is it something when we submit the application that it's going to flag that they have not filed?
So we do get these statuses from CMS. I believe we already have them in the product. So if we get that status from CMS saying that I will not file my taxes or I have not filed my taxes, we're going to highlight that. So until CMS has a record or the IRS has a record that they've filed their taxes, they will not be eligible for a subsidy because of
Oh,
this.
okay. So I'm assuming when you submit that eligibility and you get the results back, it's going to say zero for subsidy.
Yep.
Okay.
So then DMI triggers for more than 10% of income variance. I believe this applies to under 150% FPL, and this is for self-employed. Right now, this income variance is around 40%, so you don't see this all the time. This may be a challenge because if you're self-employed, it can be really hard to estimate how much you're going to make. I don't think this is something to really worry about. I think that the conversation just changes to be prepared to provide documentation. And we're building tools where, as you connect with your clients right now, you can start collecting that documentation so that during open enrollment, if you generate a DMI, you can resolve it right then and there.
And for those of you that are wondering, guys, and she is right on the self-employed, most of us don't know from 1 year to the next what we're going to make. So one of the things that when we do get an income eligibility requirement, you either have some documentation, which you may not if you're just starting the job, but I will tell you one way to satisfy this trigger is a written letter. So I usually would tell my insurance that they're here in front of me, or if I'm over the phone, I tell them this: look, write it out. Write your name, to whom it may concern. You put your FFM ID number, all the data, and you tell them, look, I just started a business. Okay, here's what I'm doing. I started, when I started, and this is what I'm anticipating that I'm going to net, not gross, what I'm going to net. And what I've seen, Jordan, is that usually goes through. I never have any issues or
Yeah.
and maybe it's going to get tougher, but that letter will satisfy that trigger.
Yeah, and I think that CMS has a attestation form that they can utilize as well. We might have one actually embedded right in the product. So doing
Okay,
something is better than doing nothing, is what I always say on
correct.
that.
Yeah, and here's what happens, guys. If you don't satisfy these requirements, these people end up losing their subsidies. And of
Yep.
course, what happens at that point, losing that subsidy doesn't automatically trigger loss of coverage. But what it does trigger is an increase in premium. That
Correct.
usually would lead to the loss of coverage. So they're not going to want to pay that high premium. And what I have found is when that happens, they're like, oh, okay, fine, here, I'll give you the letter. Can you get my money back? Mm-mm. It's a pain in the butt to go submit that, whatever that form is. And I've never even seen it work. Have you seen that work, Jordan? Are you aware of it?
I don't know about being refunded the payment. I do know that there's some paperwork involved, and if you can save yourself that, upload the document.
Oh, I agree. It's so much easier to upload that document before that date than it is to go require, or fill out that. I can't even think of what the name of that page is, but or that it is several pages, but I've never had any luck with it.
Sorry, I had a little tickle there.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely upload the document, get that in the system. We'll talk about that in a couple of slides here. Um, Moving forward, shortened open enrollment. You all have likely been around for these shorter open enrollments. The most important thing here is start your prep early, be organized, be prepared. You'll be able to get through it.
You will, guys. I've been through it. When we had the first Trump administration, it was shortened. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, yes, I would tell you, I probably did 80% of my business during the first month and a half. The second month and a half is just not as intense as the first month. So yes, I agree with you, Jordan. You just got to be really, really prepared and have a plan of action. Here's my plan of action for this, guys. The first 2 weeks, we spend most of our time on renewals, on just talking to our clients and trying to get them renewed into a plan. Then we start moving into new business. But
Exactly.
this is the other thing I tell agents in this business, because we're not advanced commissions, we are as earned. Retaining a client is just as valuable as writing a new one. So yeah, we write a new one, we increase our income, but if we lose one, then all we did was we took
Right.
one step forward and one back.
Exactly. And then lastly, the resuming of SEP pre-enrollment verification. This actually took place on May 16th. This is for loss of minimum essential coverage. You now have to upload proof of that. So again, just change the communication to your member that you'll need that documentation if they've got an SEP.
So this means, Jordan, that let's just say I enroll somebody right now, and I do use the loss of coverage, and their effective date is July 1. If I don't submit it before then, they don't get that July 1 policy. Is that correct?
They've got 30 days to complete it. So if they do it within the 30 days, it will be retro to the first. But if
Okay.
they do not do it after 30 days, then they will lose access to coverage.
Okay, got it.
Great questions. All right, so let's move on. There's really three categories that HealthSherpa is taking to help you understand your position and prioritize heading into this open enrollment. The first one is understanding your book. So understand, how all of these changes are going to impact your individual book of business to help inform your outreach strategy. Louise, you just mentioned this. Retention is key. So keeping your clients covered, you really need to prioritize retention this year. Promoting active renewals, we're unsure if it's going to be required or if it'll just be on $0, but the best thing you can be doing anyway is active renewals. You should be checking in with the members throughout the year. You should be confirming that it's still the right plan for their needs. Nothing has changed. And again, you'll need to define your outreach strategy to prevent any terminations from taking place. And then lastly, with a shortened open enrollment, you need to maximize your productivity. So how can we build tools to help you enroll, your existing book, all of your renewals, and still leave some time to grow?
Jordan, now through HealthSherpa, we are able to send emails to our book about the renewals coming
You
out.
are. Yep.
So you can do it. You can do, I think it's a series of 3 emails that go out to the insured. Is that right?
It is. Yep. And then, so you can do bulk emails. What I will say is that in years past, we've done more of our renewal training like right before open enrollment. This year, we're really shifting to be providing all of this information like this summer so that you know what to expect in the product. You're trained on all of the new tools that we have. You can start your outreach earlier. So we're not going to cover a ton of the renewal stuff today, but I would anticipate we'll be releasing more information about renewals very soon.
So I'm going to throw my 2 cents here, Jordan, on the renewals and your strategy. So you can do the outreach through HealthSherpa, but you guys should be using a CRM. Okay, you should have some tool at your agency that's your communication tool between you and your clients. And one of the things that you should do as a agent is you should be automating all of this. So what I do in my agency is we add all of our clients to our CRM. I have a workflow that nurtures this client all year long. It sends them an email and a text message about me. Okay, it's automatic. It's like, hey, Jordan, how's your policy? Hope it's well. Hope you're doing well. We're here if you need us. And I throw in some, by the way, cross sells. But here's what I do. In August, no, I'm talking about in September, I start letting them know I quit nurturing and my workflow shifts to an OEP workflow where Jordan, hey, we're getting close to that time of the year where open enrollment's going to start. Now I haven't prepped that one up yet because we're not too sure on the date yet. But once we find out if it's really going to get shortened, then I'll update the workflow with that date and let the insureds know, hey, we only have a month and a half to renew your policy for next year. Make sure you get a hold of us. Here's my link for you to book an appointment so that we can talk by Zoom or by phone, however you want. But you have to have, of all years, every year is important, but of all years, this is the year where it is super important that you need to have a strategy. And the good thing is that we're doing this in June, guys. You have all of June, all of July, all of August, and September to really start having a preparation plan to get a hold of your book of business. Okay, because it's going to be a tougher year, I think. That's just my prediction. It's going to be a tougher year. And if you don't take care of your book, they're going to leave.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we're building tools now. Luis, I know you've mentioned on one of our previous calls, like you've put together agent resources and checklists of, hey, these are the things that you need to bring to your appointment with me. I need you to be prepared when you come in and talk to me. And I think those can be really helpful tools as you start your outreach over the next couple of months, because the tools that we're building will allow you to then take those documents, put them in the platform, and again, just speed everything up. So if open enrollment is only 6 weeks, then you have everything organized and ready to go. So setting that expectation with your clients early is super important.
Jordan, you gave me a good idea. I do have kind of a checklist. I'm going to make an official one. And guys, if you want it, go down below in the description and hit the more button. It'll expand. And I've got a link where you can register for free resources. When you click on that, I'm going to give you an ACA checklist. Okay, I'll put one on a Google Doc. You can download it, make it yours, but that'll be something really good to. Now, I do have an intake form, which I have in there, and you can grab my intake form, but you can also have this for your insurance. So, like, for example, today, it worked out beautifully, Jordan. I had a Medicare appointment. So we sent them don't show up at this meeting without this. Literally, the guy showed up here, everything, nice little package of his medicines. He had his doctors, he had his Medicare card. I mean, the checklist really works. It's a good little thing. Prepare your clients. That way you're not at the appointment, whether it's face-to-face or over the phone, and they're not scrambling trying to find all their meds. You got to give them a little time to prepare.
Yep, absolutely. Great
So
point.
I will have that checklist for you guys.
Awesome. Luis, let us know if we can help you with that in any way.
Okay, I will.
Great. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what HealthSherpa is building now. So in that first section of understanding your book of business, the first thing that I'll call attention to is we are working with the carriers on getting passive enrollment data in HealthSherpa. So this is something new. We've never been able to do this before. If you've been with HealthSherpa for a long time, you know that if your book passively renews and you have to pull those members in after open enrollment, it can be cumbersome. You could potentially overlook any members, and just understanding 1 year to the next can be really challenging of, okay, what percent of my book have I renewed? How much do I have left? Did I miss anybody? So we're actively working with the carriers right now to collect this data and be able to expose it to you in the platform and give you a sense of what percent of your book have you renewed. More to come on this. We're super excited. This will be critical to getting through either those $0 passives or requiring all active renewals. Again, if you are currently relying on passive renewals, I can't stress enough, shifting to an active renewal is better for you. It's better for your customers. You'll retain more. It's really a best agent practice if you're not doing that.
And let me give you my version of what this means, guys. An active renewal means you talk to the client and you literally update the app. And if there's nothing to update, all you're doing is you're going next, 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 and you're creating a new eligibility. If you're doing that during the open enrollment, may or maybe not get more subsidies, but you're also going to have the ability to find them a new plan if they want to leave their current plan, or just enroll them in a plan if they don't have one. The problem of the passive renewals, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jordan, after OEP, and it's a passive renewal, maybe there is zero, it goes up to 5. The only thing you're going to be able to do is go through the click, 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 click. Maybe it switches to an active and they get assistance, but you may not be able to move to a different carrier. They're still going to be stuck with that carrier.
Yeah, once open enrollment is over, I don't believe they would qualify to change that plan. So really, really important to work with them. Make sure, especially you mentioned Aetna, if you need to move them from an Aetna plan, or let's say their plan is going from $0 to $5, you probably want to talk to them about, do they need to stay in a $0 plan, or what's most important about the current plan that they have.
Yeah, it's going to be so heavy. This is the year you're going to have to reach out. Now, I'll mention this. How am I going to reach out to my entire book? Guys, I mean, this is the time of the year where I think you're going to have to do one of two things. Okay, number one, and I'm doing both. One, Jordan, I'm hiring. I have added 2 people, and I just got a text message from the third one. I haven't read it yet. I'm kind of antsy. I'm going to see if she accepted the position. But I'm hiring them now so that they can be fully trained up for open enrollment. Number 2, if you're not in a position where you need to hire, or maybe you don't have an office, maybe you work from home, you may want to consider virtual assistants. Okay, now there's some deals you got to think about there on the virtual assistant side, but a virtual assistant could come in very handy with communication between you and the client. So,
Great tips there. The other thing I'll call out is, let's say you're an independent agent and this year you do decide to hire 2 people to work for you. You can turn your agent account into an agency account within HealthSherpa. There's some additional functionality if you have an agency account. We have a team that can teach you how to do that. We've got a lot of resources and trainings on agency accounts. So if you need help, please reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to teach you about the functionality for agencies. It really makes the most sense to have anybody that's working for you connected to your agency, because it gives you visibility into what they're doing. And within the agency, you can control who has access to what. It just can streamline a lot of your operations.
yes, 100%. And guys, the other deal is 2 things on these hires. Okay, they got to be licensed. Okay, and then they've got to be certified. Otherwise, they don't get the ability to get access to the book.
That's correct. Thank you. All right, so this particular product feature, we're starting to build this in the product now. You will see these statuses. We're going to be making a lot of changes to what we're displaying for follow-ups and tasks within the product. So again, if you have feedback, provide it to us. But impact reporting is really cool because this will categorize all of your renewal factors. So as you can see here, we have auto renewal turned off, no plan provided, tax return access denied, $0 premium, will not file taxes, carrier change, plan change, no plan change. So we're going to segment out your book based upon what the factor is. We'll give you an idea of, is this high risk? Is this low risk? And then you can work your book accordingly to the risk level. You'll be able to then click into the member. It'll tell you what you need to do with them and then be able to process the renewal. So really excited for this. We'll continue to keep building and adding on, but again, helping you prioritize what's most important.
Jordan, when let's say that tax access denied, tax return access denied, those 825, will that be clickable where we see what those 825 people are?
Yep, exactly. So you'll be able
Cool.
to click into the pie chart that you can see here, and we'll filter the list for you. You should be
Beautiful.
able to segment however you need to, and then be able to work through a running list.
Gotcha.
We're doing some really cool work here. So the next thing here, this ties into the passive renewals, but again, some of you may know that we offer real-time policy status with a handful of carriers today. We actually have more than what's listed on this, but really the benefit of this is we show you real time from the carrier. We're getting this data daily from them. the current policy status, the current policy AOR. We've got payment functionality in here. This is really big because you can see, all right, this is an active member of mine. I need to go renew their plan, or I need to update payment information. It's all listed live within the platform. It's not dependent upon getting new information from CMS, which can be out of date.
This is really good, guys. Right now, like I'm in Texas. I don't have AmeriHealth. I have Christus. That's the only one that I see here. So what happens when you go to HealthSherpa and you look up one of your clients? The payment status is inaccurate. Now, I think the active or the canceled, that's a current, right?
So no, because the way it works is the carrier sends a status to CMS, and CMS does not automatically send that to us. So when you open up the client details within HealthSherpa, you're doing an API call over to CMS to refresh that status. Um, Obviously, you can't manually sync everything. So the more data we can get from the carrier that is not dependent upon CMS being in the middle, the more real time you've got visibility into your whole book.
Ooh, I see here. So this is directly from the carrier, not CMS.
Yep, this is really valuable.
I like that. Okay, cool.
And this is called Premier Partners. So you can see on the screen, if you see that Premier Partner icon, that's what that means. Again, we are adding more carriers. We're working with all of the large nationals this year, so a lot more to come here.
That's exciting.
Yeah, definitely. So
Here's what I'm
moving
looking
on.
for, Jordan. I'm looking for this one. You can put this on the guys. Tell the guys, how cool would it be if you're getting billing information and like right now, I have to go to every carrier site and find out who's late, who's in the grace period.
Yeah,
Well, you guys can do this for us. And now we have a weekly report of who's behind on their payments. How cool. Because now we
that's
can
the
work on
goal.
this.
That's the goal. We'll even tell you the amount that they owe.
Oh, nice.
So we're getting there. All right, moving on to keeping your clients covered. So the renewals task view, again, I mentioned that we're going to be doing some additional iteration on this. Our goal is to really help make what you see in the product be as simple as possible. We've been adding a lot of stuff. If you've been in the platform recently, we will be making it easier to find things and more streamlined. But the way that the renewals task view works is we'll categorize action needed, action recommended, and actively retained. Again, this will just be a list that you can filter, you can do factors. So, Luis, when you talk about that impact reporting, imagine you click into a particular section, it'd bring you to a page like this.
Okay.
So Turbo Renew is really cool. This is something that we've been building out for the last couple of years. In years past, if if you had an update to the application, you would be able to click next through two of the six sections within the renewal flow. We've submitted the paperwork over to CMS to allow you to do this for all six sections. Of course, you'll still need to click through and confirm that everything is accurate, but the less that you have to click through and the more you can look at things in a summary view, the faster you'll be able to process these renewals. Something else that I don't have a slide on here, but we're going to be building the ability to collect intake forms from your consumers where you can collect changes in advance of open enrollment from the consumer. And the goal is that if they complete that form, we can actually show you as you're processing the renewal, hey, here's your income change. Here's the address change. So it's less of bouncing around between numerous systems. We're trying to put it all in one place, make it really simple for you to see and as fast as possible.
Like it.
Next will be the side-by-side plan comparison. This has already been approved by CMS. If you've been around for a couple of years, you know that HealthSherpa opens up what we call window shopping. I get asked all the time, why can't HealthSherpa open that up earlier in the year? We are governed by CMS of when we can share that data. So once we have the plan year 26 data loaded into our system, we have to wait for them to let us know that we can display that. It's typically the week before open enrollment. That's when window shopping starts. So that's when it's crunch time for all of you. What you'll be able to do with this side-by-side plan compare is we'll now show you what their current plan is next to what the plan that they're being renewed into. So that way you can really understand, is this still the right plan for them, or do I need to go shop other plans and pick something else?
I like this. Now, here's what really happens on our side, guys. Our clients know what the renewal is going to be way before we do. Okay. They get the renewal packet, I think, in October
Yeah.
from the carrier. So I started getting calls in October. My rate's going up. And I'm like, whoa, slow your roll, Mr. Client. Nothing we can do then. Give me some time. I may be able to find some plans the last week of October, but we can't officially make that change until November the 1st.
Absolutely. I've worked with some agents that say, whatever you get from the carrier in the mail, you can save it, you can hang on to it, but if you have questions, come see me. And when it's open enrollment, we'll make sure that everything's what we need for next year.
Correct.
Oops. All right, moving on to maximize productivity. Just a couple of slides here. So the ability to easily upload documents, this is new. We've launched part of this in the product. What you are able to do now is if you generate a DMI, you used to, that would generate an email to the consumer saying you need to provide proof of citizenship or, additional documents, and they would be given a link to upload that. Now you can request that paperwork from them in advance, or from the client record, you can resend the email, or you can copy and paste the link to that. And if, Luis, you want to use your CRM, you can go pop that link in your CRM. When they upload that document, it's going to go directly into HealthSherpa. So there's more coming with this. We're also looking at the ability to just collect, let's say you've got a family of four and you need 6 different documents. The client just uploads all 6. They are saved on the client record in HealthSherpa. You could do this in July, knowing that you're going to need these 6 documents, and then come open enrollment when those DMIs generate. Luis, you have them in your client profile in HealthSherpa, and you say, okay, this one goes here, this one goes here, this one goes here, and it's done. So a lot of work being done to make documents as easy as possible.
I like this. So here's one little request, and hopefully we do this. If a client uses this, and let's say that they're going to upload their certificate of citizenship to satisfy this requirement, once it's uploaded, do we have access to it?
In the new build, you will. So previously, no, because it went straight to CMS. Now that document will live within HealthSherpa. So you can upload it, but then let's say you need to go back to it later, it'll be saved in that client's profile on the platform.
But it will be viewable to us.
They will. Yeah.
Okay. And the reason I ask is because I have some where my business practice is this. Hey, if I have a document, I've never told them just mail your document or you take care of it. I always tell them send it to me. Now I have a management system outside of the CRM where it's like an electronic file cabinet. And what I do is I have my clients in there and I have all their docs. So if I got maybe their green cards to satisfy the requirement for whatever, I always ask them, hey, I want to keep those green cards because maybe next year I have to upload that data again, and I don't want to have to ask them for it again. So
Yeah.
I keep all that every single year, and I've even had some where, Luis, I lost my card. I know I sent it to you. Do you still have it? I'm like, oh yeah, and I can
Oh,
send it to
great.
them. So
Yeah.
it's a neat little that's been my business practice. So I'm glad that we're going to be able to send them this and also be able to download it and keep it.
Absolutely. And that's a good transition into this next one here. Based on some feedback that we've received, we'll also be providing more of a notification center. So let's say your client uploads their document on the platform, you'll get a notification saying that it's been completed. So again, you'll have filters in the product. You can work through the lists that we're building you, but you'll also get a real-time feed of as things take place. So you can say, okay, Luis just took care of that. I can now move on.
Got it.
So that's everything I have for today. Again, we're super excited well, we're not excited for the changes, but we're excited to be rolling out these changes earlier in the year, be preparing you to do the best you can during open enrollment. And again, the most important thing that I can ask for is just feedback as we develop these tools. If there's anything else that we can be doing that would be helpful, please share that with us.
Jordan, there's one more feature I was hoping you're going to share. Maybe you can go to your demo account within HealthSherpa, but agents have the ability to send the consent forms through HealthSherpa. And there's some more features on that, is
I
there
have a
not?
slide on that. Let
Okay.
me, why don't I send you over our FAQ on that? We could do another quick
Okay.
video on that if you'd like, because
Okay.
we do have
Perfect.
a lot of great consent tools. I'd love to cover that on another demo.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll do that. But do know that, guys, you got to get two things. Okay. These regs were put out last year, and you have to get consent before you search, guys. It's the bottom line. It's like the scope of appointment in Medicare. It's one of
Yep,
those things you have to get. And then secondly, remember that you've got to get confirmation on all the data that's on the application before you submit it. So I do it outside of HealthSherpa because I built out my system into CRM, but now HealthSherpa can also help you with that.
Luis, I just dropped that in the chat for you so you can share some information about consent, but more than happy to do another session on that. Great call out on consent. That's something that, again, all of you can start working on now. Start getting in touch with your clients, start letting them know open enrollment is around the corner. Prepare them to be in touch in the next couple of months.
That sounds awesome. And why don't we plan that out, Jordan? Maybe we could shoot for the next series in this video, or the next video is talking about the consent and the
Sounds
confirmation.
great. Yeah, would
Because
love.
I know I still talk to agents and they're like, what? We have to get a consent, and they're unaware.
It's
And
hard. It's yeah,
yeah, that is, if you're unaware of that, that's not a good thing. So you might as, if you are unaware, you might as well start doing it now and start collecting them from your clients, even though it's behind the curve, but at least you've got it.
of course.
Jordan, man, a lot of good information. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, always happy to be here. If you get any feedback for anything else that agents want to talk about, let me know.
I will. Guys, all the stuff that Jordan shared with us, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that ACA checklist for you guys, for clients. I'm going to put these links on the FAQs and the training that HealthSherpa has down below. And then here's the other deal, guys. I use HealthSherpa exclusively. I know there's other platforms out there, but HealthSherpa has really made it easy for me, not only for new business, but for renewals. And these extra tools that you're coming up with, huge. I like it. So thanks again. I appreciate it. And again, don't forget down below, click on that link to get the free resources, and do me a favor, guys. Okay. Make sure you like this video. Ask a question in the comments. I'm the only one that checks it. If I can't answer it, I'll shoot Jordan an email and try to get a response back from her. And third, if you're a subscriber, thank you. And if you're not, help me out. We're getting very close to 8,000 subscribers. I've got a goal of 10,000, Jordan. I want to get to
Do it.
10K by the end of the year. It's slowly. We add about 300 every month. So it's kind of slow going. I got to pick it up to about 500. But I think this might be the year for agents needing training and how-tos and how to grow the business in these trying times that we're going to be dealing with.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Well,
Awesome. Well,
we're always
Jordan,
joining us.
thank you, Jordan. I appreciate it. Thanks for being on.
Take care.